Hello, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Over Coffee. My name's Ryan, and today I want to talk to you about flavors in coffee. Right now, before you, I have this cup of Nicaragua. We haven't roasted Nicaragua in years. When we became an organic seller of coffee, we left Nicaraguan as an origin, not for any other reason that it just wasn't going to work out for us with the origins that they offered at the time that were organic. Few years went by, so we got the Nicaragua back in, and uh, we roasted one just the other day, and we've been patient, letting it sit. And unfortunately, it this batch wasn't a winner, but I don't think it was the fault of the coffee. I think it was the fault of yours truly, myself as a roaster. So what I want to talk to you about today, just briefly, because this is a massive subject, is coffee flavors. Here we have a wheel. This is put out by the Special Coffee Association of America. This wheel, all around the wheel, you have different, what we would call tastes, things that we sense our sensory perception will give us with our taste on our palate. And so we have honey, rose over there, jasmine. It is true. All of these flavors really are in coffee. Um, there are certain flavors that you want, other flavors that you don't, generally. Then, per roaster, there are certain flavors that you may want or may not want. For us, most of this color wheel is out of bounds. Uh, that's just our preference. It's not to say that if you love to have, for example, coffee that tastes very fruity or coffee that tastes very winey, then you're not going to like our coffee. You will not enjoy it. We don't roast that type of coffee. Nothing against that. It's a free country. It's a big world. People can drink whatever coffee they want. So the Special Coffee Association come out years ago with this coffee tasters flavor wheel. They're constantly updating it. This version here is 2016. It's been sitting on our walls about that long time. The difficulty that we run into in the coffee world is trying to speak in a language that everybody can understand. So if I say that coffee is this, and you say that coffee is that, we might be talking right past each other. So the idea here is through the taster's wheel is to begin to develop some sort of uniform standard. Now that can be somewhat difficult because we all have experiences. If you see apple here, well, is it a Gala? Is it a Cosmic apple? Is it a Fuji? Is it an Opal apple? They all taste different. Granny Smith. So how do we describe that? Well, as best as we can, because taste and preferences all vary, is we have this neat little set right here. This is probably one of the most useful pieces of, I wouldn't call it equipment, but useful tools that a coffee roaster has. This is an aroma set. What this does, I have a little note card here. In this aroma set, let me turn it around. We have a series of little bottles with an aroma in them. And these aromas are going to, we can smell these, and they're going to give you a sensory perception. The first one here in the category of earthy. So when you see a coffee that says earthy, at least when we're listing a coffee as earthy on our website, what are one of the characteristics of the coffee? Well, it's earthy. So then that means that we've sat around here long enough and we've put this up to our nose, and then we've put the coffee up to our nose, and we said, two are the same. They're pretty similar. So we'll see, we have 36 flavors here. Now that's not as many as on here, but it gets us in the ballpark. And so these flavors will be divided into basic categories: earthy, vegetable, woody, spicy, fruity. Then there's other ones that, like, for example, like tobacco. That's not really on this list. But now tobacco might be a flavor that you get in one of the Indonesian coffees like the Sumatra that we have. That's a really nice coffee, It has a really spicy note. It has a spice, and it also has a tobacco. That's a good coffee, and it has a richer, more bold flavor because we roasted darker. And then we also we keep the heat in the chamber as we finish the roast, so the coffee has a hint of smoke to it. So you might think this is kind of crazy. I just want coffee to taste like coffee. But this is really the coffee world. The scientists now say there's over 1,000 flavors. They're constantly talking about updating this. I think they did an update recently. So the point that I want to get across to you is that when we say on our website, or you might read on someone else's website that said this coffee has cocoa notes to it, it doesn't mean it's a flavored coffee and it's going to taste like chocolate. It means the notes, the underlying tones perhaps of the coffee will take on something that resembles cocoa or baker's chocolate or something along those lines. Now, all of those factors, of course, can be affected by how you roast the coffee, your own how attuned your sensory perception is. Now, this is one of the other things about this kit. It's not just that I open it up and okay, all right, this one is earthy, and this one here is in a vegetal category. Okay, well that's potato. It's that's not really how that works. It's you're actually training your palate, you're training your senses. Really, you're training your aroma because a lot of the experience that you get from coffee is actually aroma. A lot of the flavor is there, believe it or not. And so when we have a coffee before it's ground, before we grind coffee, before we brew it, if we have ground coffee and we smell it, that's called fragrance. Once we brew it, meaning the coffee gets wet, then that's an aroma. So your taste, actually, you can get an aroma through your nose when before you drink it, and then as you're drinking it, there's also aromas that are picked up in your mouth. It's pretty quite interesting. There's whole sciences on this, but the point is, we actually got a question, and I've got this before: is what do these flavors mean? As I mentioned, if we say it has a cocoa note, it doesn't mean it tastes like chocolate. It means it has a note or a hint. It resembles those things. If we say it has a nutty flavor, well, it could be a hazelnut, it could be an almond. Those are just resemble those things. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a chocolate covered hazelnut in the coffee when we say it has chocolate and nutty flavors. What we're doing is we're harkening back to this wheel and we're utilizing this kit here. So we, at least here, as we're cupping out these coffees every day, we're utilizing this to give us an objective, uniform standard. So we can say, yes, this tastes like this. Yes, this tastes like that. This Nicaraguan right here, okay, it might have a chocolate note, but it doesn't really have any other notes because we didn't roast it right. So we don't have enough heat. We didn't bring out the flavor in the coffee, so we can't sell this. This is something that we're going to sip on over the next few days, and we're going to work with it, and we'll roast it again, and we'll work with it, and we'll roast it again. And then hopefully we can get this coffee to be at the place on the wheel that we want it to be, which are the types of flavors that our customers enjoy. The number one flavor in our coffee that the customers enjoy is the coffee tastes like coffee. I know that sounds a little odd because I'm explaining all of this, but most people have in their mind what coffee should taste like. And as subjective as that is, we found over the years, the more we eliminate the fruity notes, the more we eliminate these types of unique flavors, even though they're popular today, we found the more the customers enjoy our coffee. And because our coffee is low acid, and this is a whole nother subject, these notes are going to be the notes that you find in coffees that have a very high acid content. And why is that? Well, because of the compounds that exist in the coffee, the acidic compounds in the coffee are precursors for these types of flavors. So as we roast and we eliminate these acids, which are the precursors to grapefruit and orange and lime and rosehip and cherry and pomegranate and all of these various fruity flavors or floral flavors. Some origins are just going to have more of these than not. Ethiopian, pretty much no matter what you do, it's going to be a floral coffee. So anyway, we roast to minimize those. Now, it's not our primary. We roast to minimize them because we don't like the flavor. The secondary reason is we roast to minimize them, and it gives us a very, very, very low acid coffee. So when you're looking at our coffees, our notes are going to be more like a molasses or a chocolate or a dark chocolate or a baker's chocolate, cocoa. You might sense a hazelnut or an almond, maybe a chestnut. Sometimes I'll have a hint of a roast flavor, maybe a little bit of smokiness. Now, again, this is going to be something that's unique to the roaster. Now, if we take these coffees here, and we're just working on a very small section of this flavor wheel for us, most of the notes that we have in there aren't really the popular notes nowadays, but they're the ones that customers like. And it's these notes and the way that we roast it that give the slow roasting that we utilize in roasting our coffee not only brings out some of the flavors that we want and suppresses the ones we don't. It makes a really, really low acid coffee, and it just makes it very easy to drink. And it's very easy to describe too. I don't have to explain all these things, how it has a hint of pear and a touch of grapefruit, and it's a bouquet of floral. But we don't do any of that. That's not us. We wouldn't be good at it. I don't care for it. But that might be what you're looking for. But all roasters pretty much are going to be working on this type of scale, and we should be, as professionals in our trade, we should be tuning our palate, tuning our sensory perception in our noses to understand what it is that we roast. So I was able to roast this Nicaraguan. I was able to smell it, and I knew right off we had some work to do. Anyway, that's a long way to explain something very short, but those kind of the details, that's what we do on a regular basis, is we consult the wheel, we consult this, we test it, we try to make sure that we hit our flavor profiles for each origin, and we work on it until we get there. And then once we arrive there, then in the coffee, in the description on the products, we try to put them out there. We're going to start becoming more detailed as people are becoming more familiar with our coffees. Hopefully this video will help you as people become more informed about coffee. We in turn can be more detailed with how we communicate what our coffee is to other people. I hope that is as clear as mud to you. Hopefully you picked out a few things out of the video that will be helpful to you. Hope it's insightful in some way. And I'll be doing some videos in the future just on this. And we might even have a panel that's going to be going through this, and you'll see exactly how we tune our palates and our aroma to this, smelling of aroma to this. If you have any questions, feel free to chat. You can post a comment, and if there's a video that you want to hear, and we'll be happy to do that. Happy to respond, and just so you can learn more about coffee and be a little more informed whenever you make a purchase decision, whoever you're buying the coffee from. I thank you for your time. Have a good day.